In Tunisia, you can book an overnight stay at Luke Skywalker's boyhood home, which is a real hotel called the Hotel Sidi Driss, for only $10. In China, the extremely wealthy can avoid prison terms by hiring body doubles. The most visited city in the world is Bangkok with 20 million people in 2018, followed by London and Paris. Elephant grass can grow up to 10 feet 3 meters tall that even elephants can hide in. In 2013, Scottish scientists created a pizza that has 30% of your daily recommended nutrients. The Santa Rita do Sapucaí prison in Brazil allows its inmates to pedal exercise bikes to power lights in a nearby town in exchange for reduced sentences. For every 16 hours that they pedal, 1 day is reduced from their sentence. Fire whirls, also known as fire tornadoes, are whirlwinds of flame that occur in countries where it's sufficiently hot enough, such as Australia. In the state of Nevada, public intoxication is not only explicitly legal, but it's illegal for any city or town to pass a law making it illegal. Volvo invented the 3-point seatbelt, but opened up the patent to any car manufacturer who wanted to use it as they felt it had more value as a life-saving tool than something to profit from. All humans have lines on our bodies called Blaschko's lines, which can only be seen under certain conditions, such as UV light. In 2011, a 46-year-old man named Mark Bradford hunted down and choked a 13-year-old boy who killed him several times in Call of Duty. The highest divorce rate in the world by country is Luxembourg at 87%. The lowest is India with 1%. During the Cold War, the US's passcode to nuclear missiles was 8 zeros, so they could fire them as quick as possible. A psychologist named Timothy Leary was sent to jail in 1970 and given a series of tests to determine which jail he should be placed in. Since he designed many of the tests himself, he manipulated his answers so that he would be placed in a low-security prison as a gardener and ended up escaping only 8 months later. Woodpeckers are able to peck 20 times per second, or a round of 8 to 12,000 pecks per day, and without ever getting a headache. Rhinoceros beetles can carry 850 times their weight, which is the equivalent of an average human carrying 65 tons. In the country of Turkmenistan, water, gas, and electricity have all been free from the government since 1993. The fear of clowns is called coulrophobia. One of the iTunes user agreement policies explicitly states that you're not allowed to use the program to build nuclear, chemical, or biological weapons. Yang Yuanqing, Levino's CEO, received a $3 million bonus as a reward due to record profits in 2012, which is redistributed to 10,000 of Lenovo's employees. He did the exact same thing in 2013. Africom is a website that brings you live, 24/7 video feed of protected areas of southern Africa. You can watch elephants, giraffes, zebras, hyenas, and all kinds of species of wildlife living there. Andre the Giant died on the night of January 27, 1993 in a hotel room in Paris. Coincidentally, he was in Paris to attend his own father's funeral. Vikings never actually wore horn helmets. The only helmet that was discovered to be a Viking heritage shows a rounded iron cap and no horns whatsoever. In 1950, almost the entire Soviet hockey team died in a plane crash. The team's manager was Vasily Stalin, son of Joseph Stalin. He was afraid of his father's reaction to the crash and recruited a whole team immediately, and surprisingly, his father never knew the difference. A biotech startup has managed to print 3D rhino horns that are genetically similar to a real horn. The best thing about it is the company plans to flood Chinese and Vietnamese markets, where the demand is high, and bring down the price, and thus demands. In the early 1800s, Napoleon demanded a method of communication that would not require light or sound. It was called night writing and was developed as a tactile military code. Night writing became the basis for Braille. Ants cannot be injured from impact with the ground after being dropped from any height, mostly because they just don't have enough mass. The Concorde jet, that had its last flight in 2003, had a maximum speed of 1,350 miles 217 km per hour. It could fly from London, England to New York City in about 3 hours, about half the time of other passenger planes. When Don Carcos fought in World War II, he was hit with shrapnel that blinded his right eye. 64 years later, while working in a barn, a horse headbutted him in the exact same spot, threw him against a wall and restored his vision suddenly. According to a study of surgical residents participating in the Rosser Top Gun laparoscopic skills and suturing program, surgeons who play video games make 37% fewer errors and complete 27% faster. Video game skills are a strong indicator of surgical skills. Half the foods eaten throughout the world today were developed by farmers in the Andes Mountains, including potatoes, maize, sweet potatoes, squash, all varieties of beans, peanuts, manioc, papayas, strawberries, mulberries, and many others. The bananas we buy in stores and supermarkets are genetically identical clones, all descended from one banana. These bananas are seedless and sterile. Natural bananas are short, fat, and have huge seeds. Scientists at Allen Telescope Array always keep champagne in their fridge in case they find signs of extraterrestrial life. The word cannibalism comes from can bales, the Spanish name for the Carib people, a West Indies tribe that was formerly well known for their practice of cannibalism. Japanese honeybees can bake and thus kill hive-invading wasps by having multiple bees form a ball around the invader and vibrating their wings to create heat. All pandas are owned by China. They rent them out to zoos for $1 million per year each for a minimum of 10 years. Because of a design flaw, when Apple III owners had problems like garbled data, they were instructed to lift the machine 3 inches and drop it in order to reseat the chips on the logic board. Chadwick, the discoverer of the neutron, was a student of Rutherford, discoverer of the proton, who was the student of Thomson, the discoverer of the electron. Indian housewives hold 11% of the world's gold. This is more than the reserves of USA, IMF, Switzerland, and Germany put together. Cherokee Native Americans owned slaves, and some of whom were even forced to walk the Trail of Tears with their owners. Their descendants were legally recognized as tribe members until 2007, when a Cherokee constitutional amendment requiring Cherokee blood for membership ousted thousands of them. Winnipeg, despite being one of the coldest cities in Canada, is the Slurpee capital of the world. In 1524, a statue of Virgin Mary was charged with being a witch and was sent to trial by water. When the statue floated, they denounced it as a witch and burned it. MTV's 16 and Pregnant has been linked to a decrease in teen pregnancies. Queen Elizabeth does not hold a passport. Since all British passports are issued in the Queen's name, she herself doesn't need one. She just has to say that she is the Queen. The word utopia literally means not a place. Harvey Weinstein, when was put in charge of the American release of the Japanese anime Princess Mononoke, tried to make significant cuts. In response, a Studio Ghibli producer sent him a real samurai sword with a simple, stark message attached to the blade: no cuts. The Hercules beetle, despite weighing only 100 grams, can lift 8 kilograms, making it one of the proportionally strongest animals in the world. According to a Japanese poll in the year 2000, the Japanese believe that their best invention of the 20th century was instant noodles. There is a city in Kansas called Gas. Their official motto is "Don't pass gas, stop and enjoy it." In 2005, the US Supreme Court ruled in favor of the application of eminent domain to kick homeowners off of their property, so private developers could build hotels, health clubs, and condos in New London, Connecticut. About 8 years later, the abandoned property remains an overgrown, barren field. The word hypnosis comes from the Greek word meaning sleep. There are about 3 million miles of axons in the human brain. The length of myelinated nerve fibers in the brain is 150,000 minus 180,000 km. Competitive eating champion Takeru Kobayashi set a world record by eating 57 pan-seared cow brains 7 pounds in 15 minutes. Adolf Eugene Fick coined the term contact lens. He made the first contact lens for vision correction from glass in 1887.